What's going on, everybody? It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC, and today I have to admit, sadly, that I instantly failed the challenge with the gas station knife. I'm going to explain why in this video. So, this was sent to me by River's Edge Cutlery, partially as a joke. Mike over there had to carry this for a whole week. He said that it did everything that, he needed it to do. Obviously not super enjoyable to carry, but it did whatever he needed, and it, was not too bad. And then they sent it to me to try to get me to carry it for a whole week and see what would happen. Now, this is a Chinese-made knife. It's just a Smith & Wesson Extreme Ops. Whatever that means. Just a cheap, tactical folding knife. And I was honestly, bummed that it actually got here, but I was kind of excited to try it and to just see what would happen within a week of carrying something of this caliber. However, the first day that I carried it, within 2 hours, I could not carry it any longer. So, before I talk about what's wrong with this, let's at least point out a couple of good things. Also, I'm definitely going to need to be drinking for this because it's a Chinese knife. I'm allergic to it. It is what it is. So we're drinking cheesecake beer tonight. Cheers to everybody. That's the sip, and this is the flip, and this is the flip as well. Okay. Good things about this. The edge bevel, this side, not the serrated, was ground very even. One of the most even I've ever seen, actually. So the bevel on this side matched the bevel on this side, which is actually pretty impressive for such a cheap knife. I think it's under $20. That was cool. The coating seems surprisingly strong. You can flip it open. So the thumb studs ride up pretty high. Good quick purchase. It does flip open. It's not like drop shut. It's riding on those nylon washers, but you can flip it open with no wrist action. So that's cool. The pivot is tightened down all the way, and the knife is kind of, pretty close to center. What else is good about this? I mean, the ergonomics are not horrific. It's a tactical knife, so it's kind of meant to, lock into your hand so that you can stab and kill someone. So I feel like this locks into my hand. I spine whacked it multiple times, and the lock didn't fail, so we've got a pretty decent lockup. Granted, the lock bar is really thin and cheap, but it's contacting in a good spot, in my opinions, and it didn't give when I spine whacked it. So those are the good things about it. And it looks like it would be heavy, but it's not crazy heavy. I don't know. I mean, compared to a bug out, it's heavy, but it's not brutal. So it's not the worst knife in the world, right? But let's talk about what was just an absolute no for me the moment I started actually using this knife. The half serration, half plain. That doesn't work for me. That does not work at all. I do a lot of sawing motion at work. I cut things all day long. I've made 100 videos about it, what I do, why I do it, etc. The transition from serration to plain edge doesn't work for my field. The serrations were just getting completely stuck. And trying to saw back and forth through material, through produce, through anything, it was just shredding it as opposed to cutting it. I did sharpen the knife when it first got here, so it came to me with some good chips and stuff in it. I sharpened it on a 325 grit DMT stone, so that's the coarse stone. Sharpened it on that. The sharpening was pretty easy. The burr came up quick, and we got a pretty nice toothy edge. Nice even scratch pattern. All went well. it got toothy, but I wouldn't say it's like necessarily crazy sharp. It's a very crude, working kind of mediocre edge. I don't think this is heat treated. Who knows what it's heat treated at? Who knows what this even is? We have no idea. It created kind of an edge that was pretty toothy, and that's about as far as it would go. All the chips came out pretty easily, blah blah blah. So the biggest thing was I can't saw with this knife. I can't actually cut with this knife because of that transition. The second thing is it's really thick behind the edge, so the grind starts pretty low and you have no room to thin out. It's kind of just an awkward shape, and like I said, if you were to hold this and you're using it to like stab something, quickly, it's fine. Long-term, actual day-to-day use, it just doesn't work. It's very awkward. It's very awkward feeling. These ridges are pretty uncomfortable. You can't hold the knife the way you want it to because it's very specifically built to be held like this, so that when you stab something, your hand doesn't ride up over the blade. Like, it's very specifically rounded and contoured to fit in your palm. The pocket clip is just ridiculous. It just wouldn't cut. It just wouldn't cut anything, guys. I also tried using just the plain edge to cut some lace, and it went through, and then the moment that it hit the wood that I was cutting on, it just dulled. So it's, if you were using this as a complete beater knife, then yeah, I guess it could be okay. Like, if this was a beater knife that you didn't have to slice or really cut with, and it was very messy jobs that didn't require an actual edge, and you just needed a tool that kind of came to a point, I'm sure this would be fine, but it's genuinely no comparison to an actual knife. And most people in the comments of the first video of this, were like, wow, good luck, that thing sucks. Knives in that field suck, obviously, at that price point, all that. There was one silly person that said that they believe that a $5 knife can do exactly the same thing as a $500 knife, and I just said, you must live on a way different planet, so far away from planet Erica. It's not even funny, because there is no comparison between this and this. This works, this cuts, this slices, this is a tool, this is a useful tool, it's well thought out. I feel sorry for whoever created this design and then decided to put it into production, because it's useless. Like I said, if you're doing messy, quick cuts once a day or something, sure, maybe. It's not a real tool, guys. I mean, I use my knives all day, every day. It's my go-to tool on the farm. I literally use them all day. This can't exist in my field of work because it won't work. It's not real. This is not an actual tool to me. This is useless. The entirety of this is useless. This is a tool that actually works, that actually cuts, that actually slices, that is actually reliable. So they're not the same. They're a $5 knife compared to a nice actual knife that had somebody with a brain design it. They're not comparable at all, especially if you actually work. And here's the thing. If you don't really use, if you are to tell me that this works for you, you don't use your knives very much at all. You really don't. Especially if you say that a knife needs to be either a complete plain edge or a complete serrated edge. This is not real life. This is not something that actually really works. especially because are serrations great for some stuff? Absolutely. That's why a full serrated knife is incredible. It will just shred material, but you need the entirety of that blade length to grab that material and pull through with the teeth. You have nothing to work with here. With an inch of serrations, you have no mobility to move, because the moment that you actually grab the material and start to pull, you're onto that plane edge now, and everything's gone to shit. So if you tell me that this works, I know immediately that you barely use your knives. Straight up, you don't, because this design doesn't make any sense. This edge combo doesn't make any sense. The ergonomics don't make any sense for EDC. The blade thickness and the transition down to the actual edge doesn't make any sense. The only thing that it has going for it is it has the name Smith & Wesson on it, which they make decent guns and they make shit knives. So it just makes no sense. I actually need a real tool at my job, a real knife. I use my knives so much, so I instantly had to change back to a real knife, because this is a toy and this is real, and I have to be able to do my job. Like, especially tomorrow, delivery day, 3 deliveries, like this would not last 5 seconds. I wouldn't be able to work. I'd be useless. So we're back to normal knives. If I ever get challenged again to carry a cheap knife, like a Chinese gas station knife, for a week, it's just gonna have to be something that will actually cut. Like, I would carry one for a week just for funsies, and for a challenge, it would just have to be either a combo, or not a combo. It would have to be either a complete plain edge or a complete serrated edge. But I tried. It didn't work. Oh well. So today we carried the Benchmade Bug Out, one of the best EDC knives ever. I was outside all day at work with the plants, getting those all set up, and this was my little buddy today. So back to real knives, real tools, and actually using our shit. So with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know down in the comments if you are in a field of work where this could be real life for you, or if you actually use your stuff and you'd need a real knife. Let me know. Start a conversation down in the comments. Go use your shit. I will see you on the next video. Love you all.